try to link my historian's reports to the topic of the night's program. Tonight the subject is the Vikings, and I am not aware of Northborough having a Viking connection. Maybe it does, but as I said, I don't know of it. However, our ancient history includes something much older than the Vikings, and that would be our Mammoth Americanus, or our resident Mastodon relic. Most of us are well aware that the partial remains of a centuries-old Mastodon were discovered in 1884 under 8 feet of peat on the then Maynard Farm on West Main Street near the Shrewsbury line. It is the only such specimen discovered in central Massachusetts and one of only 2 in Massachusetts. The remains were primarily a broken skull, some bone and tusk fragments, and 12 very large teeth. As you may have seen, the Society has some of those fragments displayed in the museum. We have them marked as bone, but we are now told that they are actually pieces of the mastodon's tusk. Most of the surviving fragments and teeth are held at the Equatorium in Worcester. In September, at our first meeting in a year and a half, I reviewed some of the requests for information we had received and that I had worked on during the COVID shutdown. One of those was from Stuart Fidel, a senior professional archaeologist, who said he and some colleagues were updating research on our mastodon, and he wondered if we had any actual remains of the beast, as well as photos, news clippings, etc. I said we did, and we have 7 fragments of the tusk in a very hefty, I didn't bring it up, but we have a very hefty file of clippings and photos of what actually happened. We do have this. This is an actual photo of when they were digging it up, and you see it quite often around. It was quite a sensation at the time. So, anyway, I sent off the information to Mr. Fidel, and except for a thank you note in the email from him, and a correction noting that our bits were tusks and not bones, that was the end of the matter on this end. That was until Norm Corbin, who happened to be scanning online or surfing or doing something, came across this article. And it was published in the Eastern Paleontologist, a professional peer-reviewed journal. It is entitled, Man and the Mastodon, Revisiting the Northborough Mastodon. And lo and behold, on page 7, the article cites the Northborough Historical Society and me as a source of information. We are also listed in the acknowledgments at the end of the article among those who contributed to the author's research. After having heard nothing from Stuart Fidel for months, I was very surprised and delighted to see the Society recognized for its contribution to the scholarly piece. The star of the piece, however, is definitely our Mastodon. Fidel and his 3 researchers had 2 bone fragments from the Equatorium tested for age, which had never been done before. Judging by the teeth, the animal was 2/3 grown, and the test yielded a precise AMS radiocarbon date of 11,350 years, plus or minus a few years. When recalculated with another method that paleontologists use, that radiocarbon date becomes 13,170 to 13,300 years. This would place its existence in the late Pleistocene age, which was the last ice age. According to the researchers, the test results make the age of our mastodon one of the most precise dates yet for any mastodon. And that definitely makes its tusks the oldest artifact in our museum. Apparently, ours was not the only one of the species wandering around here either. The authors conclude that mastodons were abundant in New England. Imagine seeing one of those critters munching at your bird feeder. So what happened to the mastodon? Obviously, they became extinct, and the authors of this article suspect that human predators had something to do with the extinction. A human skull, still stored at Harvard's Peabody Museum, was found not far from these mastodon remains. This led some, but definitely not all scientists, to conclude that human hunters existed alongside the huge beasts and perhaps used their carcasses for food during that age. That is still a hot point of debate among the archaeologists, so stay tuned for that conclusion. And one last interesting tidbit. The Maynard Meadow, which is mentioned in this article, was once flooded, which may explain why there was so much peat in it and the mastodon was underneath, and turned into a soggy cranberry bog. The fact that cranberries once grew in Northborough may come as a surprise to some, but as proof that they did, the 1866 assessors reports list among agricultural products grown here 15 bushels of cranberries grown on a ½ acre and valued at $60. I will leave these up here in case anybody wants to look at them later. This is the article itself. It's quite technical, but it's pretty readable. And this is the original photo of